welcome back to the LCS for our second match of the day. It's Sports 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. And just a quick reminder to everybody who I think may have forgotten by this point that FlyQuest actually took down 100 Thieves in the lock-in. And this is before we even get to what has also been...
Is it even an upset anymore?
I know, it's an incredibly impressive start to their regular split.
And it was off of two really bad games. Like, let's be real, you know, and their first day looked really rough.
Yeah.
So the idea that they could that quickly pivot, they did have, I believe, a day in between, go in and beat at this time who were the lock-in favorites, right? Running their exact roster. I thought it was really, really impressive. And we've seen so much like surprising strength from FlyQuest. First, it was like, oh, they're only getting wins because of the Smite support chop. Then they played standard, you know, absolutely obliterated TSM with that. And yesterday, they beat Dignitas in the head-to-head as well, in a game where they looked, again, really coordinated, especially around their fighting. So I've been surprised by FlyQuest.
For all of the trepidation around this squad coming in and kind of the naysayers, okay, they beat 100 Thieves, but hey, is it really going to continue? Okay, they won their first couple matches, but they're playing Janna top with the Smite. And, like, I don't think you could say that anymore about this squad at this point, Raz.
Exactly. They feel confident. You know,
They've
it's exactly. Walking in, see the team, they seem really confident. They've been performing consistently in different strategies. I like what we're seeing.
And while this matchup is exciting because it is already a rematch of that lock-in game, Jat, there's another particular story that I'm very excited about in this one, and that is the meeting of aphromoo and huhi. We're going to get a quick word from them before we talk. Let's check it out.
In our match versus FlyQuest, they have in their support position aphromoo, which is my former teammate. Aphromoo kind of gifted me a lot of moments, such as winning my first championship on CLG as mid laner, and we had that huge run on MSI making to finals, and all those moments was with him, and that's why I think we were so connected.
Can't really say enough about how incredible that guy is. You know, excellent player. He actually swapped to support a couple of years ago. I think it was like three years ago. What we do have in common in regards is just we're both facilitators for our team. Always want to put our teams in the best position possible, and I think we learned a lot, you know, from each other from our time playing together.
I think me and him both were really excited to play back on my current team, actually on 100 Thieves, and we didn't have that great of a showing that split, but now I rose up to support, and we've been playing versus each other quite a lot. We can't meet on the same team again unless someone like retires and become a coach or something, or a role swap. So I think, Zach, you should role swap to AD carry and come to my team.
Oh yeah, I can go back to AD if I want. I just got to put in some time. Maybe alternate universe, we're playing bot lane together, but message to huhi. Hey bro, keep it up, man. Looking good out there. I know he's spamming Lost Ark right now too. Everybody is. So, but you know, I'm proud of him.
Okay, so first of all, absolutely adore those two interviews. And if you're looking for more from each of those interviews, you can find it on the LCS Twitter account because there was more than we could possibly have shown here. Counter proposal. This is the perfect meta for them to both be on the same team. One of them just has to go top lane and play with Smite.
True, there we go.
Very true.
Oh.
I love how much these guys talk about each other like that. And with this being the 10th year of LCS, we are looking for more of these historic callouts throughout the day. So, like, this is one of the biggest ones. It was something like over 250 games they've played together. It's just incredible.
They've played an absurd number of games together, sport a very solid win rate, have put up one of the best international performances still to date that North America has ever put up at that MSI finals appearance, and for him to do it in a different role as well, huhi, that is.
And they've been through such journeys, right? Like, that was both on the CLG team, and then aphromoo was the support on 100 Thieves when he almost won the title. Then he moved to Dignitas and now FlyQuest. Huhi has been also to 100 Thieves as a mid laner, went to Golden Guardians, came back as a support. Like, the roads that they have both taken to get here have been so diverse and so intertwined. It's just a really cool story.
Yeah, and the close bond. A lot of players that came from back in, you know, those times where everybody's in a game house, everybody is sharing that experience together, right? Not just like in-game experiences, but life experiences, especially for huhi coming into the LCS. Yeah, I mean, that friendship, that bond is always going to be there. And so it's whenever they go up against each other, that makes that matchup all the more special.
outside of these two, which I do think obviously is a huge storyline for everything that they, have done historically together and what they provide for their teams. Actually, to Afro's point, he views the two of them as very much fulfilling the same role. And yes, support is naturally more facilitating, but also I think even within the way that they approach playing support, you very much see that. And so I got to wonder who's going to ultimately come out on top. And I think the records have disappeared behind me. I was going to reference
They're both 4-1.
The two 4-1s. Like, what a perfect way for them to re-meet for this rematch and kind of get a moment to determine, who's going to come out on top and actually separate themselves, begin that separation at the top of the table for first place.
Yeah, and I will say, Raz, you said earlier, like, you can't take it away from FlyQuest anymore. You know what? I'm still going to say they had an easy schedule. I think 100 Thieves is the favorite in this game.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. The naysayer.
Yeah.
I can't believe you don't believe in them
so
anymore.
far.
Damn.
4-1 is still good.
What's it going to take? 5
No,
and
just
1?
go to
Is
100
that
Thieves.
when you
They're gonna
officially
have
hop
to beat
over?
7-2, 8-1. They got to play everybody.
7-2.
Crazy.
8-1.
They got to play everybody.
You got to have that one coach who's like, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Quit while you're ahead.
Oh my god.
All right, well, if we talk about how they get it done, obviously huhi and aphromoo will play a big role in either of their teams coming out on top. But I want to point out our mid laner on FlyQuest, toucouille, for what he has done for this FlyQuest squad, and by the same token, in a lot of ways, helping that bot lane out, get into a carrying position.
Exactly. I mean, hearing from the interviews from both the support, talking about how they both want to help the team, and if you're on the side of aphromoo, toucouille's been doing too damn well. I know he has been excellent on his Zoe play, but even off of that pick, it felt like he has been performing both in lane and out of it. And FlyQuest has been doing well as a team. They're a greater sum of their parts, and a lot of times the team play that they do when they rally around aphromoo has been working. And so for him, it's just incredible what he has done so far.
And I think if you look at a lot of these stats, especially the forward percentage, which is first, that helps out Josedeodo so much. Like, we were talking yesterday, we had a whole jungle conversation about how, junglers are so benefited from their laners. He's looked much improved this split, and I think a lot of it is just because toucouille has been so strong in the mid lane.
All right, well, 2 4-1 teams, but only one of them can come out as a 5-1 and top of the table team. It's FlyQuest, it's 100 Thieves, and Phreak and Azael are back on the call.
Yes, we are. Dash, you got to get the name right. It is Doug Duo. The Doug Duo is back on the call. It's okay. You're new to the job. You'll get there eventually, I promise.
I feel like you're the only one who consistently calls us that, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm right. So, people can catch up.
You've like hammered it home enough that other people definitely do call it.
Yeah, that's good.
Because when you started, it was literally only you, and no one used it, and no one acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And that's like the Phreak style of comedy, though. You
Yeah.
know, you keep doing something enough that people just, well, I guess this is the way it is. They just have to accept it.
Yeah, you have to accept it, but also, I mean, it's important that people accept that I am right, because a lot of the things that I will harp on for a long time, it's because I have this deep, seated feeling that at the end of the day, people will come to see my way.
They'll see the light.
And they'll see the light,
Yeah.
right? And so it's important that I get to kind of keep these things alive so that I can say I told you so when it eventually happens.
That's
Every
true.
year, I'll just say the LCS is going to win Worlds. This is our year. Eventually, I will be right.
Eventually you will
and
be
I can
right.
say I called it back in 2012.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that'll mean I was the most right of everyone.
Yep.
That's how that one works here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you predicted it the most times. That's why it means you're the most right. We are waiting for a closer. So that's what the short delay on stage is. Once closer is back and in his chair,
Yeah.
we will be starting it up. Unless you want to sub in. If Phreak subs in, we can speed things up a little bit.
If they're okay with funnel nocturne, I'm down.
Yeah.
I will rush level 6. I will ult
They
the
have
side
to
lane.
funnel for you, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, just if I show up in your lane, you better let me, share XP, right? We're shoving that wave out, and I'm back to my Krugs. All right, that's the play. I'm
So,
going.
put Ssumday on Smite top,
I'm going. Oh, yeah, no, he can play top
need
lane.
us
I
to
just
rock
need
a
his
bit.
camps. No, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hurt. I feel like I would fit into the Cloud9 style pretty well,
Yeah.
where they can just give me all the resources.
Yeah.
And if someone tries side lane, hey man, I got a stride breaker, I got a death stance, you're mine.
So Blabber's may be in trouble, but he's not the only one who has to worry for his spot now. Because after watching that Afro huhi piece, I think FBI his days are numbered. I mean, FBI may be the best AD in the league potentially.
Yeah.
But that Afro and huhi love, it's tough to know.
Will he be the best AD carry in 2023, or will
Is
it be
he the
Afro?
best AD carry in huhi's heart? That's the real question.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to think that one over. I mean, I feel like they're doing well together. You know, I feel like
They're not
you won a
bad.
title.
Yeah,
they're not
not
bad.
bad.
They may be the defending LCS champions.
Potentially
Turns
the best
out-
bot lane in the league, you know.
Yeah, I think, and that'll be fun. You know, when you get the Hansama Corki Day matchup.
That's the real debate, right? Because last year, I think for sure most people would say that they were the best bot lane in the league. Core and Hans, we haven't got that much time. You could say they're the reigning champions and the reigning best bot lane in the league. They have yet to be dethroned, in my opinion.
They won the regular season matchup when Ayla was in there.
Yep.
Which, like, hey, you did it on that
Tenacity,
side. But,
you mean?
No, the TL 100
Oh,
game
yes,
from
yes,
the
yes,
opener.
yes. Okay, yes.
But yes, in this matchup, as we kind of focus back into this game, yes, FlyQuest did beat 100 Thieves back in locking with Tenacity in.
Yep.
Top lane difference was part of that game, but the rest of the map also did well. So it's a yes and situation where, sure, that would have mattered. Ssumday probably could have made a difference, but the team overall played better. So, FlyQuest, this is your second tough opponent, really. They did beat Dignitas yesterday. That was obviously pretty good. But when they had Team Liquid, they lost that one. That was even the pre-Core JJ Team Liquid. So, FlyQuest, can you keep up against other top teams? If you win this one, to me, like Jat said 7-2, if you win this one, top team. You're top 3. I have you in for you know, a deep run in playoffs off of a game like this. Otherwise, you know, I think you're a 5th place team right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think that, you know, if they finish top 5, I think that's really good for FlyQuest, you know, based on the investment, based on the expectations in the preseason. You know, there's not as many big names on this team. When you look at a lot of the rosters that shelled out a lot of money to get big stars, people didn't have them up there. So already, I think they have been doing a great job exceeding expectations. They look like a very cohesive team, but they are not favored for sure against 100 Thieves, who has been very, very strong.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll grab that overlay back here pretty quick. But Jinx Thresh, really, really strong bot lane there, grabbed up for Johnsun and aphromoo. I'm interested to see if we're going to get more Zillion and Veigar and that kind of stuff in the LCS, because it's kind of been getting splashed in a little bit now. We saw the Veigar ban last time, and it actually does. Wow, it actually got... Did that get locked? Or
Yeah, they're on bans.
That's great. So
It is great.
this was I was going to mention, just because Corki we saw against EG yesterday when TL brought it out. Then today, EG banned Veigar against another team to first pick Corki. So that leads me to believe it's more than TL that is picking out Veigar as this, we're not going to call it counterpick, but as an answer, or as a strong champion that can scale freely through the lane against it, whatever you want to kind of say.
Right,
I think Veigar has tremendous value in the later stages if you're not punished in the early game. And Corki isn't a champion that can really punish you in the early game. And even just the threat of that cage, we saw with Predator ganks, you know, you come with the Predator, you drop down the cage. If your jungler's there, Corki has to Valk out. You can kind of put on some pretty significant pressure there. And if you ever do get caught, it can be a bit of a death sentence, but banning out some early game junglers alongside that. The Olaf, the J4 taken out, Volibear kind of really rising in priority, Udyr getting some play. I think Jose actually played it yesterday, I want to say, or...
His Lee Sin yesterday was definitely what he played, but
okay,
we
so I
have
had
seen
it
some
mixed.
Udyr
Maybe
running
it was
around.
in their game. I had that in my head.
It was. I can look it up.
Either way, we've been seeing some Udyr kind of rising to priority as well. So getting some new jungle picks,
against Udyr.
it feels like, okay, that's what it was. It was just in the game.
Yeah.
It feels like we have been seeing that role maybe evolve the most. Bot lane has stayed, I would say, fairly stagnant throughout the year.
Yep.
But junglers, we're getting more mix-ups. Hecarim has been brought in a couple times. Hecarim getting brought in again. So you have some pretty hard engage now with the Hecarim, the Thresh, and the Veigar kind of for zoning, for follow-up. Trundle as an answer, you would definitely be winning that duel. The Xin is available as well. So Xin feels like a pretty obvious option for closer. He's also very well known for his Viego, which is up and on the table. Has been so good on that for many, many years. Gnar would make sense as a pretty safe blind. You're not really that worried about some of the more traditional counters because Aurelia has been banned out. Jace is another strong answer that's used a lot in top lane, and that's also banned out. So most of the ones that you'd be really terrified about that are common in pro play are already off the table. So it'll be interesting to see what Kumo actually wants to play into this Gnar, because Ssumday has been very good on this pick throughout his career. Kumo, you know, could just bring out something like the Graves, pretty standard stuff. Besides that, he's played Aurelia, which is banned, Ornn, which is up, but you probably wouldn't really want that as an answer unless you're just trying to go full on hard engage and play around the Jinx and the Veigar. And then he's played 2 roaming smite supports. And I do think that could also fit into this comp where you have 2 scaling carries and a jungler that you want to power up and kind of support. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it unless they don't feel that it's kind of working as much anymore, because Gnar is also not that champion that like just ends the game through split push, such as we've seen through some of the other ones. But it is going to be Tryndamere. Very interesting. I do think that this is a tough matchup early on. You know, you're going to get pushed in. Tryndamere can scale very effectively against the Gnar. And Tryndamere does hit a certain point where once you have enough levels and you have enough CDR, you can kind of just run down almost every range champion. And we kind of saw that evolution of Tryndamere being picked into Graves with Hullbreaker. The Tryndamere was going Ghost, so then the Graves had to start going Ghost to try to just like actually stay alive.
Yeah.
And it becomes kind of an interesting matchup where it's early game push for Gnar. Tryndamere can eventually outscale and put on pressure, but if you're not really doing that in the side lane, if you have a bad lane in that side lane, then it's hard to have value as the Tryndamere in team fights because, you know, there's the slow from the pillar, there's lockdown from the Leona, and especially if you're playing against Glacial Augment supports, I've found it very difficult to have effect in 5v5 as Tryndamere because that slow field is actually such a big deal. You know, you're so reliant on the Gale Force and your E Flash to actually close the gap and hopefully kill someone off instantly, but a lot of ADs these days will just play Gale Force against you, counter Gale Force, then you're in a slow zone and you're kind of like, well, I guess I ult now, and what do I do from here?
So a quick primer on Trynd versus Gnar from solo queue data. Looking over the last month at all ranked games, matchup's pretty flat, right? You're not really hard counted either way. Tryndamere is the better early game champion kind of overall. First blood rate is higher, first tower rate is higher, win rate in 20-minute surrenders is higher, and then over time, as you go into the team fight phase, if Tryndamere fails to win the game through split push, well, Gnar's a better 5-on-5 champion, right? And so that's probably what I'm going to look at for that 1v1 specifically. You can see he's even not running teleport. Kumo is just about playing the side lane. You know if you're 5-on-5ing into a Gnar, you're trolling as the Trynd here, even though you can't immune. It's just not great. So all about split push for Kumo.
And honestly, even to function in a lot of 5v5s, Ghost is really important. And you can't just take Ghost DP because you need to be able to E-flash onto these marksmen to actually kill them off. Your job in the later stages of the game is killing the backline as Tryndamere. So you really do kind of get pigeonholed into playing Flash Ghost. It's mostly what we have seen throughout competitive play, even when it was kind of played mid lane. We were seeing that a lot too. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited to see the Veigar. I'm excited to see the Hecarim. We are getting these mix-ups. Hecarim, kind of notoriously crappy in the early stages, but you do have a good AoE clear. So starting on the Raptor camp is always going to be pretty darn effective. And toucouille is doing the same tech that we saw from Bjergsen, which was the Predator. So going to be looking to get early boots. We didn't see it first base from Bjergsen. He had enough gold for Lost Chapter, which is just like always a good buy. But as soon as you get that, there is the threat of just walking at him and caging him with someone behind you.
Want to point out a fat dub for toucouille, able to land a Q before minion spawn. He's got one bonus ability
And
power.
he turned off the first strike.
If he hit him in time, turn off first strike, no gold earned. So there's the 2 now as he gets in minion CS, but obviously
Can't come back from that.
I mean, it's very difficult to do so, but I think he's got it in him. You know,
Don't think so. I think it's over. He's got 4 AP.
All right, well, it might be a rip, but we've got a nice jump in on a Johnsun down to half HP. With Aftershock, who he can take a pretty big trade, but then on the way out, well done by FlyQuest. It's so important. Something I see high elo players do and low elo ones not do is getting damage on the way out, like this as well. This is how you keep up in a range versus melee situation, is that 120 damage back afterwards when they have to walk back into the wave.
Exactly. You don't win the initial upfront trade, you know, as the Gnar to this Tryndamere, but you can chase them down. You can slow them with the boomerang. Post level 2. Oh, this is problematic.
Goes for flash. Does he? Yeah. I think he's going to learn Q. I think there was a world where he learns W and goes for the slow, and if he gets it, like Ssumday kind of just dies. But really nice play. I mean, Ssumday obviously was too far up, not realizing spinning slash is going to give him 2 and be in range.
But he also forced the flash because he got a crit, I believe, with full rage, right? So it's like you kind of get that through, I think, going Q. So it's tough. I mean, I think you almost always want Q at level 2 to threaten the all-in.
I mean, it gives you the flat AD, which is obviously useful,
Yeah, and being able to have you know, the potential there to be able to have that flat AD, to also have the heal, you know, through the sustain is pretty important. But he could have flash followed. He would have needed another crit to actually be able to kill him realistically. So I actually think he made the right choice. I think it's a low percentage play.
Well, is Kumo going to lose his flash? Is his E up? Yes, it is. So thumbs up. He's holding the cooldown at appropriate times, and an important sense for top laners to have. What is the timing when a top laner will be here? Save the cooldown. You pretty much can't be forced to die spinning slashes up. The trolling gun won't do enough, and that's a slow to be landed. That's an E4. That is decent damage. No crits on this one with about 15% chance, so not a surprise, but still good damage, and Ssumday is already out of potions.
I think every Tryndamere player is surprised when they don't crit. You know, even when, like, well, I thought I had it. It was level 1.
Can't do math.
I eat in towards him. I'll attack him 3 times.
Look at what he's doing, though. As long as he's playing it safely enough. I mean, Closer is back.
I mean, Closer can flash follow him over the wall.
Yeah, you E away, then you flash out if you need to. Yeah. Flash follow. He burns the heal. Red buff is still on.
He's got to flash the wall now.
Yep. And that pillar was a little bit sooner. Kumo wastes the flash and dies, so that was really tight.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually really well played there by Closer, because as you say, you can actually create it so it's a longer flash, and he'll then just flash into the wall there, because he won't actually get to the 50% mark through the wall, so he won't traverse to the other side. But that was pretty aggressive stuff from him. Not really kind of paying respect to Closer, and Closer was always going to chase on that play. Trading your flash for flash is actually a big deal there, because now somebody doesn't really have to worry about the all-in, whereas before, without flash, when Ghost came back up, Kumo likely could have actually looked for a chase down and killed off his top laner. So yes, he doesn't get the kill, but you trade resources and you put your ranged top laner into a good position in the early stages, which is really where he needs to be, because this lane gets hard later on. Jose on the wraparound.
This is probably going to be a kill. Mega Gnar or not, it's a flashless Gnar. Hecarim is here. He can throw him back in. Well-timed stun. Still has the knockback, though. That'll be enough. Can they give it over? They do. First blood into Kumo. Attention in the volatile top lane. Tryndamere favored early. Burns the flash at level 2, and the gank makes good on it.
Yeah, really well done, and great timing on the gank. You see that stacked wave? Gnar is desperately trying to reset the wave and get the hell out of there. He knows that he's in danger, but he didn't have any wards available. You know, he's in trouble because that ward was actually turned off in the tri-brush by the pink ward. As a result, Jose finds the angle here, gets the kill, is able to just wrap around. So did Jose? Oh, he pinked it. You should have known that. Then I take it
One
back.
auto, 2 autos, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's tough. I think he actually might have gotten out. This was close because Jose just barely got the angle to knock him back. He did stay in a split second longer. It's also a really tough decision, because if you actually base there with like 3 waves stack pushing to your opponent, all of the minions that come out for him are gonna die, right? Yep. You know, so you're gonna lose a lot off of that. Ssumday in trouble though now.
Oh, but Kumo is dangerously low as well. Has to burn the heal. I don't think Ssumday's in range for any more. Kumo will eventually out-sustain, but that was a really good trade by Ssumday. And as Closer walks up, I mean, this is tower diveable, right? Like, he shouldn't be hitting 6.
I don't know what his experience is at. Just basing it on Gnar, I mean, Gnar's, you know, like half a wave from 6. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pillar, but Ghost was back up. It gets him out of range. I feel like they could have maybe gone for the dive with the whole wave. I'm not sure, though.
I think with the Ghost coming back up, it's probably pretty risky there to try to chase in, because as soon as he gets out of that pillar slow, he is pretty quick. So if you haven't killed him instantaneously there, you may just die to the tower. But again, a little bit of pressure, and that wasn't a lot of time spent, because Closer's actually doing the scuttle up on top side. Ssumday is now 6. Kumo has got to be really close. He will get it here off of this big wave that he's actually going to pick up, and then Ssumday has to be a little bit careful. But again, because of 2 summoners forced by his jungler, a lot of the all-in threat is kind of gone from Kumo. So still, overall, looking very good for Kumo. The fact that he got first blood, the fact that, you know, his jungler was able to get up there and really help him out to finish off on what was a good early advantage that he created for himself on the early level 2, means he's going to be, you know, feeling really good about his spot in this game, because, you know, this is the time where Gnar is supposed to be kind of like having a bit of the push, having a little bit more of the pressure. But if you die early, I do think it's pretty problematic.
Okay, here we go. Looks for it again. Wants to time the slow. Does dodge the slow. Well done, Ssumday, to land the auto at the right time. Be facing forward. Thank you very much. And Mega Gnar, of course, is going to be a no trade zone. Kumo down a gank if you're going to count it. 1 from Hecarim, 2 from the Trundle. Still doing pretty well, has a CS lead, and here's number 2, Josedeodo on the way. Ssumday has ulti, basically ungankable, and indeed not going to get much more done. Throws Kumo back out.
Yeah, just coming in there for a little bit of a trade, gets a bit of damage down onto Ssumday. They know he doesn't have TP, so that damage is more valuable. It will stick. And he can't stay around, because if you actually wait in mini Gnar at the tower, they just dive you with Tryndamere ulti and Hecarim ulti, because Trundle is cross-mapping right now. He's on the other side of the map, so he has to base. It does mean he's probably going to lose a wave, but they're trying to dive bot side.
Well, Glacial's on the step back. They're slowed down. Huhi's going to flash out of short range. No problem there. Next up is Closer. He will die to the tower. No, he drops the range there as well. A clean 3v2 dive. No casualties. 100 Thieves. What else? Winning through the bottom lane.
They juggled the aggro perfectly there. Johnsun trying to have the outplay, just barely doesn't get the kill onto Closer, who stays alive, flashing to follow Johnsun and pulling himself out of that tower range. I'm not sure if Johnsun could have survived if he actually stayed under tower or not. It's a really tough call there. toucouille, though, has the Predator, is trying to threaten here with the cage, but doesn't want to early pop it and have somebody just walk away. They are going to zone him away, though, and there's no real response coming up here from 100 Thieves, so it will be their Herald, and it's going to be the kind of tale of two lanes, right? Very likely to focus towards top lane, trying to enable this Tryndamere, where 100 Thieves are going to continue to look to snowball FBI, who got so far ahead off that, because he was already up farm. Johnsun lost farm at the tower trying to defend the dive, and both those kills went to FBI.
That is a huge Aphelios. Look at that. Yeah. Noon Quiver. He's got the pickaxe. He's got Berserker's Greaves there as well. That is beautiful. He is so damn far ahead. As you can see, the Jinx mostly trying to farm it out, right? Early Cole trying to scale up, and that's a tough look right now. So 900 gold lead, 100 Thieves, but FlyQuest onto their second neutral objective. They're not supposed to be winning in the bottom lane, but the wave was shoved in. Tukui got enough done in the mid lane that is going to be the first dragon.
Notice that this ward is not actually turned off by that pink ward. So this is one of those things where you have to actually be careful about your placement. You know, that does not turn off that ward. You've got to have it more central or people can sneak them in. This is something you see happen, you know, more frequently than you would like, especially because Dragon can bump your wards, so you actually have to be a little bit more cognizant about where you are placing them there. There's some sneaky ones as well you can do around Baron, where you place it, you know, just outside of the pit, right against the wall, so you can see people enter, and people often put their ward too far in or don't sweep outside, you know, thinking that it's covered. So little things that you can sometimes optimize to try to make the most of those pink wards. And toucouille here to check in on the Veigar. 85 bonus AP so far. Quite a lot this early on, and we'll see if he can just continue stacking that up. Ever since Veigar got, I think it was the Q cooldown reduction buff, it has been seeing quite a bit of play in solo queue, so I'm glad to see it making its way into pro, because I do think it's an incredibly strong pick, especially against a lot of melee-heavy teams. It's really tough to team fight in effectively against the Veigar as a melee champion. And you have to be so careful about that cage. And a lot of times, your melee engages, and Veigar will actually just cage between the melee and the range. So the dive comes in from Leona and the Trundle and the Gnar, and all of a sudden, Corki and Aphelios have a cage between them and their melee champions, and they can't follow up, and your front line just dies. So it's really tough to deal with if the Veigar uses it appropriately.
And then it just becomes, can you tank this for long enough that, you know, that 2 second or so stun is going to be enough for you. Merc Tread's a reasonable option here, based on, you know, the Hecarim Fear mattering, Veigar's entire kit mattering, the Chompers, Thresh's pretty much entire kit, all those Merc Treadsable. So I don't think Ssumday's making the wrong choice. He has to win against Tryndamere. No. That man is entirely out of tech.
If you rush Mercs here again.
Yeah, you don't rush Mercs, but like I could see him like getting Warden's Mail first or something, or like trying for a fighter mythic and hoping it's enough. Like there's a case. I just
think the move speed is really what he wants here. Valuable. The move speed is super valuable. And if you're saying the move speed is super valuable, you need to rush tier 2 boots, and you don't want to spend your gold on Merc Treads, right? So I think it's for sure the right call here. In these range versus melee matchups, especially against Tryndamere, who's playing Ghost, you need to have move speed to have a chance, because then if you have tier 2 boots, at least if you proc your hyper, you hit him with Q slow, like so you can run him down or outrun, you know? Because even on the offensive side, tier 2 boots sometimes matter more than the damage items in these kind of things because of what you were talking about earlier, which is the return trades, right? Where he spins forward, he hits you. Then if you have good move speed, you can maybe chase him down if you proc hyper and get some autos on the return to make that trade a little bit more even, especially because Tryndamere also was rushing tier 2 boots.
I just saw attempted Predator play toward mid as Toucouille came forward as Josedeodo cleared out a ward, and just a Valkyrie backwards for Abbedagge. The Predator will be back in time, in plenty of time, I should say, for the next Dragon spawn. So we'll see if FlyQuest is number 2. Afro going to be tanking a pillar. Ultimately going to be fine. The early slow was nerfed a while back. Not a big threat there as Kumo lanes the slow, so he's going to ghost forward. Decent damage here. Is it going to be enough is the question. Ssumday has Gnar, does not blow the ult. He wants to hold it. I believe the cooldown's short enough that he would still have it in time for the dragon fight. Regardless, it's going to be a stun, a lantern, a flash forwards. A lantern is going to be enough. It is not. The lockdown is there. Bought what time he could. Not going to be enough. Well done to find that kill.
Yeah, going aggressive. They get the kill. Kumo looking again, but without Ghost. That's that move speed. The 2-2 boots. He procs hyper. He walks away, but they're going in. Nice flash.
Yeah, they get the flash out. It's going to be enough. Now close here for a bit more. How much can they tank? A knockback by some space, but Ssumday going to keep doing a bit of a free hit right here. Kumo just barely does not get the hyper proc on him, and so he's going to have to walk away. And, well, still, 2,000 gold lead, 100 Thieves. Sure, they're down a dragon, but the Herald's already been crashed. That money's been cashed in.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is you look at bot and mid, and you look at the gold difference, right? That is what's getting concerning here. Because off of that death for toucouille, Abbedagge pushed in, got 2 plates. That's a full kill worth of gold himself. He got additional minions. FBI already had 2 kills and is farming all of these plates solo top lane. So he's a good 1,200 gold ahead. Mid lane is nearly 1,400 gold ahead. That is the big problem right now for FlyQuest. They do have good scaling, but Kumo's going to have to be able to buy them some time, and it hasn't looked like he's been able to push his advantage too much more. Ssumday is just going to play this passively because his carries are winning, so his job is just don't give up that much and survive. He doesn't really have to do anything more than that, and that's important to know in League of Legends. You know what your role is in the game. If other people are slamming the game, you don't need to be the hero. You just have to chill and make sure that Tryndamere is not the hero.
Yep. He's got a steel catch, he's got a phase, he's going towards some defensive options. He's gonna be all right at the end of the day. As you can see how far back Johnson's to play, has to be respectful of who he may be going for a flash ult or a flash E. Afro, of course, could have fast fingers, but you don't want to kill yourself. Knocked on the wave a little bit there. FBI takes an auto, but I mean, honestly, going to be fine right now. Going towards what we're seeing more and more. Bloodthirster second here on the Aphelios. BF Sword is going to be that build path. 100 Thieves indeed have control, and the second Dragon is going to go 1-1, tying up that score. As Kumo tries to fight, right? He is the one winning part of the map, and just doesn't get a lot done.
No, not really able to get too much done. Ssumday Mega's out there, and it's tough to actually win that scrap. Abbedagge, though, has the package.
That's killable. That is absolutely killable. Lands a smite. Second Valkyrie not going to matter. Good early damage comes in. You can package over the Veigar stun and just get out and out of range, land some decent damage, and Hecarim closes it out. So FlyQuest walking the way back in a little bit, but mid still under fire, down pretty low on health. As Jose, I believe they look to fight over the scuttle. There wasn't one up right now, though.
Yeah, he's just going to back it off, waiting for the Veigar to move in with him, and I think he's going to start Herald now. So, they get that kill on top side, good early damage from toucouille, able to buy the time with Cage. But as you said, I do think, in retrospect, the correct play is just packaging through the Cage. He doesn't know the Hecarim's there, and it's kind of one of those weird things where generally the counterplay is, oh, well, you just dodge the skill shots and you stay inside it. But it gets very difficult, I will say, to actually stay and dodge those skill shots when Everfrost is in the mix, because you're trying to dodge all of these additional things. No. Everyone moving up here now, though. Closer has the inside track. He can actually steal this.
Kill, and it's knocked down at the wrong timing. It's going to be lost to FlyQuest. Well smited by Closer. FBI grabs the Herald. This is going to be enough damage. Huhi dives in. This should be a kill. Josedeodo is down. Stopwatch burn now as well. Closer also stays alive, but Kumo's in the mix. Stopwatch buys some time. Is it enough, though? Huhi getting lower and lower. Finds one kill. Looks for the lantern and gets out, but the chase is on. 2 more kills come through. Abbedagge closes out the fight.
The double kill there from Abbedagge. FlyQuest not quite enough damage to finish off the Herald there in time. The way they entered seemed a little bit haphazard, so even though they had members there, they weren't all around that pit fast enough, and all of 100 Thieves just beeline straight in. Closer gets in, the eye gets popped, and he's the one that finishes off with the smite, so they get the Herald, they take 2 towers without even using the Herald, get additional kills now onto the Corki, and they are so far ahead. And FlyQuest moving those members up, but because they're not all joined up together, 100 Thieves just go straight in. Abbedagge has that inside track where you see Afro and Johnsun have to kind of just go around the long way, right? They're having to enter this way. Kumo's all the way down here. So by the time they actually get over there towards the pit, it is just a little bit too little too late as Josedeodo gets picked there by huhi over the wall. And huhi gets hit by the Cage, but it's not really enough to quite finish him off. Buy some time there with Kumo, and now again, back to that bot side. They're looking for a dive. He has no ult.
Ulti down, Summoner's down, no way out. Kumo drops, Ssumday gets revenge. 300 gold to him. It's going to be as much damage as the last fight. Yeah, and that's going to be a bot lane turret dying now as well. So 100 Thieves turning the corner. That is 5,000 gold. It's going to be 6,000 gold soon. This turret is always dead. FBI just getting rid of some charges on the purple gun. And then, yeah, they can stay. This is always bot lane tier 2. 800 gold split amongst the team. Most of it local. We'll see if Closer takes his share.
Yeah, I think he's just covering because they don't know exactly where everyone is, so you're a little bit nervous about having your AD hang around. So at the very least, he's just going to stay in the brush. He's backing up now, and here comes Jose. So good thing he did stay around to protect him.
Yeah, the man would have died in the 1v1. I'm pretty sure FBI doesn't have the tools to get away. Yes, he could cleanse the fear, but I think Hecarim still
chased down by it.
Yeah,
with Ghost as well as Phase Rush, there's no getting away. Like, even if you Gale Force away and you cleanse the fear, you just don't create any distance. You kind of just get ran down by the base stats of Hecarim at this point in the game.
Has gone for Chemtech Hecarim, by the way. The more aggressive, I should say, team fight engaging style. You can certainly play Trinity Force and play as more of the fighter, more of the bruiser. That said, honestly, just starting the fight for your Tryndamere, starting the fight for your Jinx, I think makes sense in this comp. You are playing triple carry, skewing toward tank here, I think makes way more sense based on comp, so I think intelligent choices being made. And we'll see if FlyQuest can find their way back in. They still have a pretty big Tryndamere. He is on 2 items. Problem is, Ssumday is already on Hullbreaker plus Steel Cap, so it's going to be very hard to actually kill him in that side lane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just has to go defensive build. You don't have to do anything. We talked about this earlier. You know, you have the additional armor from being isolated with Hullbreaker. You have the Tabby's armor. That's going to be more than enough to keep him safe from, you know, an easy all-in from Kumo. You know, Kumo likely is going to have to, you know, build towards, you know, like Last Whisper, which is super, super far off to be able to actually threaten Ssumday if he is isolated with that Hullbreaker. So it's going to be a tough time for Kumo to be able to really pressure. And he's also now down 2 levels because he's been getting pressured and missing XP and not optimizing farm as much as he would like to because of the state of the game. So I just don't think he wins side anymore, so they're going to look for a fight. Nice cage.
The cage is going to hit the back line. That's just going to be a deletion. Mini Gnar has no MR and gets basically solo killed by the Veigar. Mid lane is completely open. Josedeodo got some damage. toucouille doing the same now. And how's 100 Thieves going to do anything about this? I mean, the river is kind of just owned at this point. Jose should be able to walk away cleanly. And the second dragon for FlyQuest, I think, should be a formality. It should be an objective bounty. Of course, the kill on Ssumday valuable as well. It would be a miracle steal. Rockets land in Fog of War, and it's going to be a walk away. But mid lane tier 2 could be under assault. Nah, Wave's going to be caught.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, they grabbed the bounty top, the top tier 1 already. Johnsun grabbed early, so now they get the dragon bounty. They get the kill on a Ssumday. So a nice little swing in gold. It was, you know, nearing 6K, I believe, actually, after 100 Thieves took that bot lane tier 2. So a nice little bounce back. We'll see if they can get anything more. Just going to use the Jinx ult for scouting, seeing if there's any sort of cheesy Baron play. You know, with the Aphelios. We can watch this one more time. Just Predator, Veigar, run straight up, drop the cage. Ssumday tries to get out the back of it. Does get comboed here by the Veigar. The Jinx ult over the top, plus the Jinx rockets were keeping him safe, giving him the range to still hit there. Nice little return fire from Abbedagge over the top, but it wasn't enough to actually, you know, push back Johnsun and toucouille.
We'll see. Bjergsen yesterday ended the game on exactly 1,000 ability power on Veigar. We'll kind of keep that track going to see.
216 bonus right now.
216 bonus. The total, once you get death cap, is probably going to be, yeah, that's going to go to like 500-600 when you get all the way to death cap. Obviously, the 35% bonus is pretty nice. But that's still a ways away. Does not have the second NLR nor the combine, which is 1,100 itself. So it is a slow build path, but clearly worthwhile.
And he is on 1,500 gold, so you know he has some cash in pocket here, looking to just kind of keep farming that up. He's going to sit on the tier. Probably he could go that second, but I just generally think that going death cap second is just so valuable because of the interaction with your passive and all that free AP that you get.
Yep.
You know, Archangels is fine, but you can just go at third, honestly, or go Void Staff and just sit on the tier because tier is a great laning phase item.
Yeah, one important thing to think about with the game is that like your early power spikes matter, getting online for stuff. And so, for example, you know, yeah, you could go Seraph's Embrace and you can spike and get, you know, 25 ability haste.
Yeah.
And some AP, but the AP flat like is fairly irrelevant because, hey, what do you care? Most items, or a lot of games, I would say, you know, about half of games, you're not going to get to your third slot. So do you want to play half your games when you never hit death cap on Veigar?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So just get it second, get that online as soon as possible. Yeah, you've got less haste. Like, yes. And you're sitting there on a trough where you've got component, but at least you get to death cap and can play some climactic
Absolutely.
fights.
And I think there's nothing wrong with just sitting on tier the whole game.
Yeah.
That can happen in a lot of games. You know, generally the way I think about playing mages mid lane is if I can get my Lost Chapter base, I just go Lost Chapter. If I cannot, a lot of times I'll just grab a tier. You know, that's enough to kind of get you through that hump in the early stages. It's not that expensive. You can upgrade it to Seraphs in a lot of cases, but even if you just end up sitting on it for the rest of the game, it's not a big deal.
Want to point out, though, Kumo has caught up in levels. You mentioned a 2-level lead, 13 to 11. It's back to 13-13. So Kumo has been able to get these side lanes again, catch right back up and farm. 192 is a pretty reasonable clip. He is on the way towards Essence Reaver, so he is delaying that Lord Dominic's or that Cyrilda's to get
probably
more
Navori
ability
Quick
haste.
Blades, I assume, maybe? Or
it might be, I think with that, that's a Quick Blades build, yeah. I forget the build path. I've seen Reaver on him as well, like as an option, because you cast so many spells, you often get those shooting procs. But yeah, Quick Blades is it's the more, I want to say greedy, it's the more expensive option. It's like 700 gold more than Reaver, but it's so much
The big
build.
thing is just the mobility, right? You know, the ability to actually oh no, he needed to take that.
Yeah, he didn't want to get...
He didn't want to get pillared out of it, which
right.
I get. But if you're going to have to flash from running down, then you want to take it, see it, make him make the play, right? If he makes it, then you have to flash. But now Kumo going in. Oh my
and
God!
Just deletes Corki. Ulti's on. How good's the dive gonna be? They trade him back, but the rocket lands on
Really
Trundle,
good.
and there's nothing for Leona to do. Solo kills Abbedagge and FlyQuest. It is time to believe the road to 5-1 is paved with Kumo solo kills.
They're going to Baron here, and there's no answer at all. It's just FBI with no flash, and Ssumday, if you walk up, this is super dangerous. It's just Ssumday poking away here by himself. FBI is coming over now, but I see no way they can get this.
Miracle Steal doesn't find it. Lucky to dodge the hook. Sidesteps out of the cage. No death, but there was a 1% upside. The gold is still down. It is a 2,000 gold lead to 100 Thieves. Flip the switch replay.
Exactly, we can see it one more time. Kumo just sees Abbedagge there over the wall. He just goes for it, pops the ghost in on him. Valkyrie over the wall, flash follow, Gale Force to follow the flash. Perfectly played there by Kumo. Not a lot of players are gonna know the limits there to go that aggressive into the team. Not only do they get that kill, but the Trundle burst down by the Jinx, by the Veigar. They full combo. A lot of effective plays here are being made by FlyQuest. We saw it last time when they killed Ssumday. Up front, dump all the Veigar cooldowns, the Jinx rocket over the top to get the kill. Same combo used on the closer there. They get the kill on him as well. Now death cap is completed. Let's check in on Mr. Veigar here. 761 AP. Yep. And yeah, there is a gold lead, but you also get the base stats from the Baron. You know, you're going to be able to maybe increase that gold lead potentially with the Baron. And it was a 6K gold lead, what, like 8 minutes ago or something?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is not a big deal now. 2K is not going to be the difference. It's going to be about execution. And FlyQuest have dug themselves out of the hole really, really well. Their carries are relevant. Their carries are online. And Kumo has his quick blades, so now the chase down becomes much more real in that side lane.
Cage came down, I want to say a little bit late. Closer realized it in time and got out. Not going to be locked up, but a turret falls down in mid lane. 500 gold, thank you very much. Closing that gap. Red Bull Baron power play at 2,100 right now. Looks like it's going to be a bunch of camp stolen as well. Blue buff, thank you. Gromp, thank you. More money in the pockets, about 100 gold each. So there's one of them. There's the second, I guess 190, close enough.
And it looks like they want to try to play for this top lane tier 2. You know, instead of just going for the freebie in the bot lane tier 1, they're kind of just doing this 1-4. You have, excuse me, I'll bring that down. As you have Tryndamere pushing down in mid lane, and then the other 4 are playing up towards top side, and you can kind of have Josedeodo roaming back and forth, mostly sticking with the 4. But if there is an all in play in mid, he can move over to try to get that. And this is such a strong siege tool here using the Veigar cage.
Nice hook, damage on a closer, half HP, almost one-shottable.
Jinx rocket.
A flash ult from Veigar would have killed. He holds the cooldown. Sidesteps FBI, didn't want to kill himself. I think it's respectful to not go for that play, but it would have been a deletion. And that's going to be a recall now away from one of the front lines of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and the concern there is if you flash in and you ult and you kill him, that's not a worthy trade if you die right after. And toucouille playing with respect to that. Johnsun, if he had hit the ult, would have got the kill, but Abbedagge steps forward, blocks that. So well played, I think, on both sides, making the correct choices there. The wave is stacked and pushing towards bot. Not going to be anyone there to actually kill off that tower. Ssumday should be able to get there in time to defend it, but the gold lead is pretty much all but gone, and it has to be down to execution now. 400 Thieves. Still, the opportunity to win these fights, absolutely there. Abbedagge as well as FBI are still monstrously strong. They're still both up a lot of gold. You know, it's a 2K gold lead in mid lane. It's you know, 600-700 in bot lane, but he's on his 3 core items, and he went a super expensive build. So FBI is really, really strong right now.
Ooh, they found a slow. They're going to find a knockback, maybe a fear as well. Played in, just deleted. That will not save you. A hook on a huhi should make it easy as well, but he's got a flash, he's got an ulti, and he gets away, burning some major cooldowns. But FlyQuest salutes to you. Major cooldowns are not enough. You are generally winning this game. Looking forward now at the next stun. They're going to walk back in time. Kumo does indeed come down. No play to be had. Level 15 on both top laners.
And Johnson's just killing the bot lane towers. He already took the tier 1. He's pushing the tier 2. So they get that kill mid, but it's always the play on the other side. And we're seeing a lot of these teams really leveling up, it feels like, the macro this week. FlyQuest playing the map well from a deficit, finding picks where they can, getting advantages where they can, forcing the hand of 100 Thieves. Now, 100 Thieves has to go bot lane to defend the tier 2. Guess what happens mid? toucouille as well as Afro are pushing that up. Johnsun just makes the quick rotation over because they have vision control in the jungle, and it's defended by Josedeodo. That is great stuff to see from FlyQuest.
Exactly. It's important that everyone is playing up together. It doesn't matter that there's like 4 camps alive in FlyQuest jungle because they're taking the 100 Thieves camps. Like, these guys are still farming all 3 lanes and jungle at full efficiency, but there's nothing for closer to grab. And then when you finally do reset, oh, Jinx grabs 2 camps and takes the recall. toucouille.
Yep.
Recalls grabs the buff. Great, cool. Let's keep going. And the gold lead is now 800 in FlyQuest's favor.
Exactly. And I bet Jinx does have IE on base. It does, yeah. Does have the IE there. You know, got the tower bot, got the tower mid, took the jungle camps, so was farming for that. Sitting on Vamp instead of going for the IE third, so he does have the IE. Both of these marksmen are incredibly strong. Both of them have a stopwatch here. Yep. Kumo has been really having some big impact plays in these chase downs, particularly the one on Abbedagge. That was a game-changing play. It felt like they were kind of losing until that. He hadn't really been able to create a massive amount of pressure in the side lane, but now has his last whisper. You know, could be going towards a Death Dance or something here next, and he is looking really, really strong. toucouille has gotten to his Void Staff. He is incredibly strong. We'll check in on the AP there. 828 now, closing in on that 1K mark.
172 to go. Cyrilda's build path, I think he was going for. I think getting a spinning slash to slow just kind of guarantees no one gets away from you. So that's the one I've been seeing. IE can round out your crit chance at 100% since you got 40 from the passive. And IE can be your third crit item at item 4. Rockets chunk Kumo to half HP though. Like, that is scary. And his sustain is not there just yet. Closer wants to walk up for a good pillar play. Instead, they'll settle for just the wave. But now Kumo gets to stack up the passive, stack up the rage, get a bit more back with the Q.
Oh, they're going to threaten Baron. But I always feel like these plays are easy to answer because you send one person to solo dragon and the other 4 contest Baron, right?
Yeah.
You know, there is package and there is Leona, so that makes it more scary, but they spot them on this. Will they even have Kumo come up, or will they have him solo the dragon? I think they're going to do that play. Yeah, it's the 1-4 split, but he's now moving up.
That is a huge hook of flaying onto the chompers. He gets the stopwatch, but he could beat a lead, and Johnsun times it perfectly, and now they can play. They dive on in. Is this the smite? Does he get the Baron? The team fought out a huhi, 1100 claimed by closer, but Kumo's in the front line. He's here for a bit more. They find kill number 2, a stopwatch for FBI, jump over the wall, staying alive, recalls coming in to play back in, and that's going to be 3 unanswered kills. A Baron for 3 kills is equal gold, but the map now belongs to FlyQuest.
Exactly, and they're going to get so much more. They're going to get the dragon for sure here. They're going to push as well. Closer is just too damn good, though, on these smite fights. It has to be said, this man don't miss. But FlyQuest win the fight after. toucouille on the wraparound here could look for an angle for a cage. If they are not careful, you got to respect the cage on the siege. But they're just going to push it in. They're going to retreat to the dragon, put themselves to soul point. Cloud Soul is big value for Hecarim. It is incredibly good as well for Tryndamere. Those are 2 of the best champions in the game, I think, specifically with the Cloud Soul, because you're getting amp damage with that ultimate, you know, throwing him in there, getting the move speed as well for the Hecarim, but also the ultimate move speed for Tryndamere allows you to chase down carries incredibly, incredibly well. And Afro here over the wall, seeing Abbedagge, finds the hook. The pink ward was cleared out, so he lost vision of him, I guess, and he just goes straight in, couldn't react. And then, yes, he goes into the stasis, but you're coming out into the cage, you're coming out into the chompers, you're coming out into that perfectly timed Jinx ult. Beautifully done. Jose smites the dragon, or smites the Baron, excuse me, down to I think it was about 100 or 120. The perfectly timed smite right there after by closer. He knows the fight is lost. He flashes out. He's going to recall back to base. FBI, I think, played the kind of 1v1 against Kumo about as well as he could have. Yep. But there's just no escaping it. And unfortunately for him, it means stopwatch is down, summoners are down, and he dies anyway.
That was the scariest point in time, because that was when both carries grabbed stopwatches. And it's like, well, if you wait out the trend and then you get the resets going forward, like, that's a great looking fight. The fact that FlyQuest won the fight against double stopwatch means they're going to look good. Again, Baron is worth 1,500 gold and a bunch of XP. They probably went XP positive on the play, but you can see from the gold values, basically nothing moved, you know, either way on the needle. Obviously, FlyQuest now on soul point as well. That's clearly valuable. But FlyQuest are stronger now than they were a minute and a half ago.
Absolutely. And it just has been slowly crawling, that gold lead, falling and falling and falling, and now it is building for FlyQuest. As this was an early game that looked like 100 Thieves were going to be able to run away with it, but FlyQuest have just made some great plays. I don't think 100 Thieves are playing a bad game by any means. I just think they've been punished heavily from any little misposition. And that kill mid lane for Kumo was such a game changer. You know, getting them a leg in. And now sitting at soul point, sitting with a gold advantage, items getting completed here. Johnsun now, he still has his stopwatch and his BT is done. So the build is getting well and truly rounded out here for Jinx. We talked about the Void Staff, and we're getting a really cool piece of tech here. Anathema's Chains from toucouille. This is, I think, a really strong Veigar item. Not only just to kind of give you some survivability and ability haste, but the reduction of tenacity is actually quite nice because you can get the super long cage stun on one of these carries, which makes it quite valuable. And it's also going to make it a lot harder for Abbedagge, who I assume he's going to actually put it on, to get that poke damage down on him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get poked quite as hard, and that CC lasts longer. Good luck getting away from that one at all. We know aphromoo is on his way towards Mikhail's. I saw the Reju bead and the Negatron a while back, so he's on the way towards getting away from Leona stuns and helping out his team. Obviously, the mid laner doesn't have his cleanse. Yes, Johnsun can play it, but poor Veigar's going to be locked in place. Hasn't gone for Azonia's, right? So has to respect all the Leona stuff, especially when Flash is down like now. And we wait and watch because we got 2 minutes to go until Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and it seems like that's going to be the play. It's just going to be about prepping that, trying to push outside, trying to create as much of an area of darkness for 100 Thieves as they possibly can. More and more items coming through here. Looks like it is going to be the IE next here for Kumo, working towards that with some components. Josedeodo is very, very tanky. He is on the full 3 items. Of course, that can be shredded pretty heavily by closer. This is still a very winnable game for 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they have, lost hold of their advantages. If Josedeodo over-engages or makes any sort of misstep, you get Trundle ulted, you get shredded by Abbedagge and FBI, and the game can swing very, very quickly.
Yeah, Aphelios is absurdly scary. He's on 4 items. Exact same build, basically, as the Jinx. They've swapped mythics, but otherwise the same kind of path right here. See, as the Trundle went towards some earlier MR as well, there's not really a need for percent armor pen either, so I kind of like the builds all the way around.
And I think if it comes down to a straight-up 5v5, the X factor is just going to be how well can Kumo perform? Like, what can he get done? But I think still FlyQuest would prefer 4v4s much more than that straight-up full-on 5v5. They want to be able to have Kumo draw someone to a side, look to 4v4, have the Gnar just kind of isolated in this matchup where he doesn't really want to be in that side lane. But not sure if 100 Thieves is going to be really willing to give that to them. I think they're going to be willing to give up the push a bit in a side to group for that soul fight. And then it's going to come down to, can Ssumday be really effective, or can Kumo actually get into a carry? Because if he dives backline and can't kill a carry, the fight can look pretty rough pretty quickly. And that's easy enough to happen. If you go in, you get stunned up. He doesn't have cleanse, he doesn't have QSS, so I kind of want to see huhi focusing more, honestly, on peeling the Tryndamere if he goes aggressive instead of counter diving.
Abbedagge, Guardian Angel is on, and he's got the package. This is a very powerful mid laner. I like Corki a lot at this point in time. I think he's going to get a lot done. Ward cover's going to be tough. Huhi going to check up into the brush. Chomper's down for a bit of defense. Waiting for the poke to land. First 2 gonna miss, and now goes back to the waves. That's crucial that these do not land. Not everyone on FlyQuest. Basically, only Johnsun can easily sustain between these waves. Rocket 3, Rocket 4, all sidestepped, all missing. Number 5, there you go, a chunk on aphromoo.
They're threatening Baron. They want to try to trade, but again, it's gonna be that split.
Speculation.
We'll see if they are willing to fully commit to it. I think they'd have to go immediately. But it's going to be so hard to do in Corki's face. I'm not sure this is going to work out, but they're just going to commit to it. There's no Mega Gnar, and Trundle is not there yet, so they're just trying to rush it down.
Should always be yours. The smite should always be yours. Getting burned lower and lower. Smiteable grabbed. Is there a team fight? They choose to walk away, and a spinning slash out for Tryndamere. So the attempt at Soul is given away. Both at 3 stacks now, but a Baron claim. Now the XP basically useless. They're all 18 anyway. The gold obviously meaningful. The wave pressure going to be meaningful. And we'll see what FlyQuest can now do, because that was a call, a judgment call, to give up Dragon to play for Baron. I want to see how it plays out.
And in most cases, that doesn't really work out, but the fact that Ssumday actually had just lost Mega meant he couldn't buy any time. You can't walk up there as mini Gnar and do anything about it. And it was 2 people down on the Dragon instead of just the 1, so they just straight up rushed it down. Jinx plus the Veigar, and now Abbedagge, you are in trouble.
Jose is here, level 1 Valkyrie, not gonna do a whole lot. There's GA down. That cage should work every time, but is it gonna be enough damage? Uh-oh, there's Hecarim. He's got to ult. He will get away for a time, and reinforcements have arrived shortly. A great double stun! Closer is a tank. He built MR, and he's at half. And now you got top lane pushed down. It's time to get away. Will there be recall stopped? Yeah,
they're
mid lane
pushing
falling as well.
everywhere, man. They're going super aggressive here. This is a great play from FlyQuest. They get out to GA, they get out of TP, they back it up without having a death, and now they get 2 free inhibitor towers.
That is a well-done play. They put so much pressure on bot lane, they forced the answer, and the cross-map play is taking down turrets. FlyQuest getting a lot done with the Baron. The shot culling doing well. All their wins from week 1 were comeback plays where, yeah, they're playing Jan on top, but they're getting so far behind, and they find the way back in. Here against 100 Thieves, playing, I mean, a bit unorthodox, right? Not a lot of teams play Veigar, not a lot of teams play Tryndamere, but navigating the mid game anyway. Here comes the next turret, 3 in a row knockdown. So much done during this Baron buff, and FlyQuest aren't done yet.
100 Thieves are crumbling. The base is falling apart here. Mid lane and Hib will fall. Kumo still pressuring on that top side here against Ssumday. Jose and Afro just roaming back and forth between bot and mid here, trying to keep that pressure on. And Johnsun with that long range with the rockets here. Red gun is down, so now he can feel a little bit more confident to step up here and start actually hitting this tower because we don't have that white-red combo for FBI.
A little bit of range, but yeah, not the rest of it that he wants. So we look back and forth. Johnsun, as well as FBI, have rapid-fire cannons, so you can always sneak in for that one shot. These are the last 2 Baron waves coming in. 45 seconds left on that buff. The last 2 cannons you get to use in the bottom lane. How much will they get done with it? A wave crushed easily, but how about the siege? Corki poke still very meaningful.
Hecarim just escorting in that wave, so they're gonna have to respond to the Nexus towers being under threat. Jose's trying to threaten a potential dive here, but the Nexus towers are under fire, and his closer now drawn away here as that siege minion is getting work done up on that top side, just slowly whittling away at it. So Ssumday's just gonna move forward, try to tank it up. FlyQuest, it feels like it is fizzling out a little bit here, not willing to get too aggressive to move in for that play. They will back off. They do get just the 1 inhibitor. I thought that they were going to be able to get a second for sure.
But it is still 3.5 towers and an inhibitor, and at the end of the day, a 4,000 gold Baron power play for them. I think overall, on average, hey, that is a really good run, right? That's still a good Baron. I agree they could have gotten more. It looked like they could have. That's still a positive, at least.
Absolutely. You know, it's still a good play, but they're going to be setting up for this dragon. They get the early reset. They're going to move out. Not a lot of pinks in inventory anymore because everyone has pretty much filled up those slots, so it does become a little bit more difficult to have full confidence in your vision control in these late stages.
1077, the ability power now. So confirmed, irrefutable, toucouille, better Veigar than Bjergsen.
Yep. You
More
judge
AP
it
is better
purely through
Veigar.
more AP, exactly. Because you can make the YouTube clip with the higher number.
1083.
The 1083 AP Veigar one-shots. Coming to YouTube soon.
Yep.
But coming even sooner is going to be this soul fight. Both teams on 3 dragons. This one is going to mean a lot here. 100 Thieves has mid lane control. They're pushing up. Jose's looking.
Looks like he wants it. Huhi gonna lock him down for a bit there. The stun cage is up and closer has to flash get away. Huhi down very low as well, but good damage at FBI. Just chunks the back line. That's a GA down. And what can Johnsun do except die? Ssumday's in for the slow. They're gonna get the AD carry. And just like that, 100 Thieves flip the switch. And the map belongs once again to the 100 Thieves.
That is such a long death timer here. Tryndamere's just running for that top lane, trying to push it in, trying to threaten a cross map play. But it's gonna be soul here for 100 Thieves. That is such a big deal. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. 100 Thieves have been losing control, but if you overextend there, as the Hecarim, if you get too far from your team, they can focus you down. And Josedeodo, as a result, was too low to really ult back in. He was a non-factor in the fight. Then the Corki poke plus the Infernum ulti from FBI and Abbedagge chunks out that backline, and just like that, it's a rout for 100 Thieves, pushing FlyQuest further and further away. They're able to get full control, get the soul, and we'll see where they can take us from here because it's still anyone's game. Johnsun now sold the boots, so he's on a true 6-item build here. They got a lot of power, but that soul is going to make a difference. The additional move speed is really valuable.
Drops the GA, says actually there's nothing else I can buy. GA doesn't sell very much. It's a 40% sellback rate. Nice. Stun, is that enough for Aphromoo? No, it's not. Flashes in for more, he wants this fight. Is it gonna be enough? The package is good, but his GA pops. But toucouille can't get much done, has to flash over the package, finds a double root, but he should die. Nearly one-shots FBI. Rocket! Johnsun comes back from the grave, and FlyQuest come back from the dead. The fear lands, and everybody is wiped off the map. Do you believe in FlyQuest on the road to to 5-1, knocking down first place 100 Thieves.
toucouille with such a good play there. It's skeet shooting, knocking Abbedagge out of the sky, one-shots him on the package, then finds the multi-man Everfrost for the massive amount of damage, setting up for Johnsun to come through, cleans him up with the Jinx ulti. That was incredible from toucouille. What a play to finish it. They thought they had the Veigar caught, but he had them caught, and he turns it around. What a finish. You can see the smile on their face. That is such a big win, meaning even more because they started from so far down. 100 Thieves looked like they were going to cruise to an easy win. They're up 4, 5, 6K relatively early on to this game, but FlyQuest making the right calls, playing the map incredibly well. Key moments from multiple players when they needed it. Afro's big hook onto the Corki early on. Kumo's actual solo kill on the Corki. It was actually a lot of plays around Abbedagge. The one shot on the package there, I think that was just a Q ulti. I really want to see that last play, but that was just package in from Corki, and he got Q ulted, I believe, right out of the sky. One shot into the GA. Everyone's trying to pile in onto toucouille. He didn't have his cage, but he had the Everfrost. He finds the Everfrost, and this late in the game, you know, he had a Lich Bane. He has like 1,200, 1,300 AP. You land that one combo, it's almost 100 to 0. And Johnsun, he finds the ulti. It splashes from one onto FBI, who tried to flash out of the way of it, but the splash was big enough to get that double kill there. And that was it. I mean, this was just such an exciting game and such an exciting finish.
Yep.
Veigar's a strong pick, man.
Veigar is strong, and hey, we should be seeing more and more of him. There are some very small nerfs in 12.4 for next week, but this champ should be in way more games. FlyQuest got the clutch gene. They are alone in first place, and so for now, we're sending onto the stage for a Verizon postgame interview with LeTigress and Kumo.
Welcome, everyone, to the Verizon postgame interview. Just talking to you, Kumo, right now, discussing the length of this game. The gold graph taking a big ol' heap towards blue side and then over towards red. So what was this like for you and the rest of the Fly squad?
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty stressful. I knew we had the scaling, but mid-game was really low rough, and we were really behind. So we were trying to do like the best we can to hold on and scale. And eventually, I think I found a really good angle mid, which stalled out the game. And yeah, I think we had the scaling and we scaled.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could hear staff coming to you immediately after that saying you saved the game here. And that takes a lot of dedication and discipline from the team, right? When you are behind, to stay locked in, to come back in such a fashion. So give me a little bit more detail on who's making the calls. How are you coordinating so well across the map in these final moments?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, toucouille's on Veigar. He's always in the game, in the entire game. He's like, yeah, we win like game. We can front to back, like taking even 4v5, you know, with Cage. And I think that really reassured us and gave us confidence to play like with or just like aggressive. And we were looking. So I think that helped us a lot.
You were always looking for the plays individually, which has earned you the player of the game for this one, in fact. Now we've seen you on multiple picks. Obviously, a lot of the Smite Enchanter to start, and then bringing out the Ornn, now getting to be on the Tryndamere. How are you feeling about your play as a top laner and the diverse styles that we're starting to see from FlyQuest?
I think I feel pretty good about my progress. I don't think I'm there yet. Obviously, against Bubbo, I think there was a lot of stuff that I learned from him that game, and a lot of the stuff he was doing better than me. So I think I'm just working as hard as possible to get to that level.
Learning is definitely the headline when talking to any of the FlyQuest members, it feels like. But you're also now holding a temporary hold of the top of the standings as well. What does it feel like as a squad to be able to be up here, even when people are questioning, all right, are FlyQuest at the top? Are they people that we can take down?
How does it feel? Not too sure. I mean, personally, I'm just feeling pretty proud about like our performance and how far we've come since lock-in. Because at the start, it was really shaky and it was not looking good, you know, in our games, our synergy. But yeah, just really happy and proud of us.
I think a lot of the fans agree there, and especially being early adopters of a lot of the different compositions, already mentioning the Smite top. But how much of that is a continued focus for you all to be able to adapt and bring in strategies before they hit everybody else in competition?
Yeah, I think that's one of my strengths, I think. I definitely like to try out all the stuff that's new and good like whenever they come out. So I'm glad my team is able to trust me and be open-minded about what I want to try. So it feels really nice.
Well, we are all enjoying seeing it. Kumo, thank you so much for the interview.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and continue to break down that game at the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. FlyQuest coming up big. Over 100 Thieves. It was not an easy game, without a doubt, but moving to 5-1 and doing their best to make Jad a believer.
I think everyone predicted 100 Thieves. No?
Yeah, we all did.
Big upset.
Yeah, but you were the one who was like, not sold. They got to be 8-1 or 7-2.
Dash.
5-1, not bad. They're on their way.
Dash.
What?
It's got 3 more games until they're done.
Three more games.
Oh my God.
They're doing really well.
Yeah, they are. I'll touch back in with you in a few
Yes.
more games then. All right. Let's talk about it, though, because while the win did fall in favor of FlyQuest, it's not without 100 Thieves doing a lot of very quintessentially 100 Thieves things in developing a lead.
Once again, I like this dive bot from 100 Thieves. It's very like them, and I'm glad they still go for these plays, especially to get their bot lane ahead, because as we've talked about, this is again, like the platonic ideal of what 100 Thieves want to do. Get their bot lane ahead, rotate him around, set up for team fights, have
Exactly.
FBI pop up.
Exactly, like the idea of just rotating him around, because this is something that they just continue to do. It's like, okay, perfect, we got a good place towards bot lane. We'll send him top lane so he can just solo take plates. While he already has a 2-kill lead, like, this is a great game for him. And I know that Kumo was mentioning the fact that they scaled, but like, I 100%, 100 Thieves should feel confident in their scaling too. They have great poke in Corki with how much damage he's doing, outputting with his rocket. And then if you have green gun with, green, white, whatever it could be, like you outrange absolutely. So you can outplay these fights or just play these fights out normally and you would win.
I think this is a consistent problem for 100 Thieves, actually. If you remember their Week 2, Game 1 match against Immortals, and then FBI gave the Player of the Week interview, he's like, we actually didn't play those fights well. We didn't show any patience in the late-game fights. And that's exactly it. Like, they have a max Adam Corki who can half-health a Veigar with a rocket, but he's teleporting in just so he can package and getting himself in all this trouble. So I think 100 Thieves will look at this game as a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, like the 2 games they have lost have been games where I think they could have won if they had not overforced. So they should be able to learn from this.
Yes, and one dangerous position that FlyQuest were in was when 100 Thieves were doing Baron. Corki was just like poking them down and was sitting in a spot playing Gatekeeper. Now, Corki made the mistake. Like he could just wait for the Thresh hook and come in, buffer his W, just basically completely cut them off towards Baron. They win that fight. They come out 4 people with Baron or 5. It didn't happen. He got caught. FlyQuest had a way in.
We're going to dive into some of those winning moments there for FlyQuest. But this weekend, use the code LCS5 on all Grubhub orders to secure yourself or receive, rather, $5 off orders over $15, up to 5,000 orders on time, lowest price, or they'll make it right. That's the Grubhub guarantee. But that brings us to the Grubhub dub as Kumo delivers the win for the squad, finding his moment to strike.
Yeah, and I thought this is really, obviously he's Tryndamere. He knows that he can dive in on this Corki. But talking about Kumo as a player, way back in lock-in, we were like, okay, they obviously saw something in him that they wanted to keep him on this roster, putting other pieces around him. And this sets up beautifully for this fight. This is the turning moment for FlyQuest. I think obviously 100 Thieves could have and did get back into the game very easily because of the range, because of the damage that we were already talking about. But this is the play and the decision from Kumo to go in and set up so that FlyQuest then could eventually snowball the game in their favor.
In so many ways, FlyQuest felt down and out at that moment, and that was what clawed them back into it. As we take a look at that gold graph, that's a pretty flip there, if I do say so myself. But more so now, Jad, and I'm going to turn this back on you one more time. Just with this performance by FlyQuest and now sitting at 5-1, what are the it feels like they're setting up some very, very tall expectations for themselves in terms of closing out that first round robin.
They really are. And this is always a tricky thing to do on an analyst desk because I love to give teams props when they succeed. But like they clutched up this game.
Right.
Right? They had massive hooks from aphromoo when they needed it. They had that. I've never seen a hero
That
play.
hook by Baron was massive.
Yeah, I've never seen a hero play like that Kumo play. And then it was still insanely close down the stretch. And then they had another game in week 1 where they clutched up against, I believe it was Golden Guardians, and just had a 5,000 gold comeback win. So I see their record at 5-1, and it's very easy to give them props, which they deserve it. But when I project forward, I still like that's what Kumo said. I'm happy with my progress, but I'm still not there. I don't think they see themselves as the best team in the LCS, as right now the record would say that they are.
Right.
But we're 6 games in. I still see them as overperforming and still like they're in great position to make the playoffs, which wouldn't have been expected at the start of the year.
You'll take the wins as they come, but that doesn't mean you have to be happy with the performance that you put up there on the stage. FlyQuest, though, they continue to impress, at least from a record standpoint. Now, after the break, Cloud9 is going to have a must-win. Well, I say must-win. They're going to need to regain some footing here as they go up against TSM after falling down just yesterday. We'll be back here in just a bit.
What's going on?
Jake from State Farm, the perp just confessed. I think. I don't know.
What?
Oh, can't afford streaming anymore, so here we are.
Oh, don't give up what you love. State Farm has options to personalize your policy so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Oh, that's great. The subtitles would be nice.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.